The paper slipped from his fingers and fluttered to the ground like a quiet surrender, landing on the cold pavement outside the glass building. The single dad didn't look back. His shoulders were heavy, his steps uneven, and the weight of another failure pressed into his spine as he walked away from the interview that was supposed to change everything. Behind the reflective doors, the interviewer stood frozen for half a second, then something in her chest cracked, and she ran. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and everyday heroes who keep going even when life knocks them down, please like this video, share it with someone who needs hope today, comment your thoughts, and subscribe to the channel Everyday Heroes. Your support keeps stories like this alive. He had woken before sunrise that morning, careful not to wake his 6-year-old daughter sleeping sideways across the bed they shared. Her backpack was already packed, her lunch wrapped in foil, a small note tucked inside with a crooked heart drawn in blue pen. He wore his only decent shirt, ironed late at night while she colored at the kitchen table. The interview invitation had felt like a miracle, a real job with stability, health insurance, and a chance to stop choosing between groceries and electricity. He practiced answers quietly in the bathroom mirror, speaking to his own tired reflection, promising himself he would be confident, that he wouldn't let the truth about his life make him sound unreliable. The building was all glass and steel, shining with success. Inside, the air smelled like coffee and polished floors. He sat straight, hands folded, answering questions about experience, availability, and pressure. When the questions turned toward gaps in his resume, his throat tightened. Years blurred together, his wife's sudden illness, hospital nights, her absence afterward, the way grief didn't pay bills. He explained as best he could, careful not to sound like an excuse. He mentioned being a single father only once, quietly, as if it were a flaw he hoped they wouldn't notice. The interviewer listened, nodded, typed notes, her face unreadable in that professional way. When it ended, she thanked him kindly, the way people do when they already know the answer. He knew before he stood up. He felt it in the polite distance, in the way the conversation wrapped itself neatly without warmth. The rejection didn't come in words, it came in silence. He shook hands, forced a grateful smile, and walked out before disappointment could spill onto the carpet. Outside, the sky was gray and low. He loosened his tie, the paper with his notes slipping free. He didn't chase it. He had chased enough things in his life. He thought of his daughter waiting after school, asking with hopeful eyes if he got the job. He imagined the way he would soften the truth, how he would turn another no into a lesson about patience. He told himself he could handle it. He always handled it. But the truth was heavy, and his steps slowed as the building disappeared behind him. Inside, the interviewer stared at the empty chair. She had followed policy, checked boxes, weighed risks. She had also seen the man's hands shake when he talked about mornings, the way his eyes brightened when he mentioned making pancakes shaped like stars. She had seen resilience framed as inconvenience. Something in her refused to settle. She stood, looked through the glass, and saw the paper on the ground, the man already halfway down the sidewalk. Without thinking, she pushed the door open and ran. Her heels echoed, the city noise rushing in. She didn't call out. She ran because she knew what it meant to walk away believing you weren't enough. She had been there once, years ago, when a single mistake nearly cost her everything. She had been given a chance she didn't technically deserve, and it had saved her. The rules had not saved her. A person had. He heard footsteps and turned, startled, ready to apologize for something he hadn't done. She slowed in front of him, breathless, holding the paper he had dropped. The city seemed to pause. She spoke. Not with authority, but with urgency, and asked him to come back inside. Not to redo the interview, not to pretend the concerns didn't exist, but to talk honestly about solutions. She admitted the risks. She admitted the hesitation. And then she admitted something else, that sometimes the right decision isn't the safest one. They walked back together. The lobby felt different now, less cold, more human. She asked about support systems, schedules, backup plans. He answered plainly, not trying to polish the truth. He spoke about neighbors who helped, a school that understood, a routine built on alarms and love. He spoke about being early because he had to be, about never missing work because someone depended on him. He spoke about responsibility not as a burden but as a compass. She listened differently this time. She heard strength where she had first heard risk. She saw commitment where she had first seen complication. When it ended, there was no promise, only sincerity. She told him she would do what she could. He nodded, thanked her, and left again, lighter this time, not because of certainty, but because he had been seen. That evening, he cooked pasta and listened to his daughter's story about a gold star she earned for helping a classmate. He told her the truth in gentle pieces. He told her someone had run after him, and she smiled wide, believing that meant something good. He tucked her in, sat in the quiet kitchen, and waited without expecting. The call came the next morning. Not a miracle, not a perfect offer, but a start. A role adjusted, hours flexible, a supervisor willing to work with him. The interviewer had gone to bat for him, had explained why character mattered as much as convenience. She had said the company didn't just hire skills, it hired people. Weeks passed. He learned systems, stayed late when he could, left on time when he had to. He proved what he already knew, that reliability is born in responsibility. His daughter visited the building once, wide-eyed at the glass and the view. The interviewer watched them from a distance, knowing she had made the right call. Life didn't become easy. It became possible. Bills still arrived. Mornings were still early. But there was dignity in the routine, hope in the planning, pride in the paycheck folded carefully into a drawer. He carried himself differently now, not because someone saved him, but because someone had believed him. Near the end of this story, if it touched your heart or reminded you of someone who never gave up, please take a moment to like the video, share it, and subscribe to Everyday Heroes. Your engagement tells us these stories matter. And before the ending, we have one special request. Comment below with the words, "Second chances," if you believe small acts of courage can change lives. The paper that once fell to the ground stayed with him, framed above his desk at home. Not as proof of failure, but as a reminder that walking away isn't always the end. Sometimes, it's the moment someone decides to run after you, and sometimes, it's the moment you learn you're worth running for.